All right, we're doing this again, and this time we're delving into the world of Booktok. Now, if you don't know what that is, don't worry. I didn't really know what it was until one of the podcasts I'm on. I was about to say Cox and Crendor, but it might have been Geekenders. I don't know. In one of them, we were talking about Booktok and something called romantasy. Hopefully that's what it is. That's the term. But basically, it's erotic novels for the ladies or guys. I don't know. But it's, things like My Date with the Centaur or 3 Nights with the Ogre Queen, like that kind of stuff. Anyway, what Booktok is basically the book section of TikTok. It's where people go to hawk their books that they're going to self-publish or whatever. And people comment on it. And people read them and review them, and it's its own weird ecosystem. It is highly enjoyable. I actually spent some time there looking at things after talking about romantasy for a while. But then this video was put across my desk. Is that a thing videos can do? It was recommended to me to check out. It is straight up just called, I Promise You Will Care About This Niche TikTok Drama. It is a Booktok related thing about drama. I'm already kind of in. For those of you who are curious, this is very Gen Z coded. A lot of Booktok are people in their 20s trying to promote their books and hyping themselves up as writers and things like that. So this counts, and I can't wait to dive into this. That's a title. I Promise You Will Care is a title by NerdSync Sidekick. I'm ready. Let's do this thing. I'm actually really excited for this because I have some basic understanding. So we're about to learn something. What? I don't know.
I didn't even get to all, oh my god, I didn't even scroll far enough, there's still more. Oh my god. I thought I was done scrolling. Hi everyone, so
I had no context for any of that. I'm already excited. Also, can we go back to the very first frame? I now get to have my own Crendor moment. If you go watch Crendor react to my videos, every time he starts a video, I'm like, I look goofy as hell. He pauses on a frame that looks insane. This is that for me. I get, it's blurry. It's got him like kind of looking great. Big fan.
I'm not a part of Booktok at all.
Neither am I.
I make other videos on my other channel, but I care so deeply about this Booktok drama that's happening that I have annoyed my wife from talking about it so much. She doesn't know anything about it. I've been trying to explain it to her. She doesn't care, but I care, and I guarantee you will care too.
This is how I feel about everything I'm into. Remedy games, Final Fantasy, all the things I enjoy, I will be like, no, but for real, let me just tell you the whole thing. The whole thing. I don't think people enjoy it because I will just spoil stuff, but I just want to talk about it so much, and if you aren't caught up to speed, I feel the overwhelming desire to catch you up, so then I can talk to you about it, so you understand why I'm excited about things. Like if I'm playing a game, or I'm reading a book, or I just saw a movie, I'll be like, you didn't see it? Oh my god, so let me tell you everything.
It is so interesting, I have to talk about it. Now, the problem is there are already a million videos about this online. I'll link to—
My man here feels like a millennial, so I feel like we're operating on the same wavelength of, like, he's catching up to it, just like how I'm catching up via him. So this is fantastic. Okay.
This revolves around an author named Audra Winters, who is responsible for this world that she's been crafting ever since she was 12.
My name is Audra Winters. I am the creator of the world of Gardian, which is a Zodiac-based fantasy world that I have been working on for 10 years now. My name is Audra Winters. I am the creator of the world of Gardian.
10 years? How old is it? There's no way she's older than, I was gonna say a teenager, but I'll give her 20. So she's been working on this since she was a kid? Like a preteen? A tween, if you will?
My name is Audra Winters. I am the creator. My name is Audra Winters. My name is Audra Winters. My name is Audra Winters. I am the author of this book.
For those who are curious, this is mostly what Booktok is. It's people hawking their book, trying to get people to buy it. They're first-time writers usually, and they're it's like teen romance or teen drama. Basically, like everything from Hunger Games-ish to 50 Shades of Grey. 50 Shades of Grey to like pure actual porn. That's pretty much what it is. I've yet to see someone on there who's like, hey man, I wrote a book about JFK. It's an insightful bio series. Like, it's not a thing happening there.
It was released about a month ago, and I have lived through the worst week of my life because of it.
So it's a decade of world crafting.
Look, NerdSync, you're crafting this video very well. I'm getting hooked in ways I didn't think was possible. Worst week of her life? What happened?
Let's just read the website. We're going to be here for a little bit. So in their own words, the book is about this. 18-year-old Reka Spring has been determined all her life to piece together Guardian's fragmented historical record and reverse her signs, a motionless code of honor. When she finally locates an ancient archive containing classified knowledge of Guardian's history, Rika discovers a scroll.
Stop. First off, we don't even need to continue with this description. This is every, she was an average girl with nothing really descriptive about her, so the reader can get invested in the character and put themselves in her place. Anyway, she was told to be one thing, but the world wouldn't allow her to be the thing she really wanted to be. Also, there's 2 and/or 3 guys who are very into her, and she's got to choose, but maybe she wants all of them. But in the end, it'll be the one the fans wanted most. Anyway, there's some sort of political magic thing going on, but that's not as important as the story of a young woman coming into her own. That's every one of these books. Literally every single one of them. I love that for the fans of that. They are eating good. Or maybe not. I don't know.
Ooh, cool stuff. I read nonfiction, so I don't want to come across as like smug or like this sort of story is for children or whatever. It's young adult fantasy. It's, whatever you want to do with it. It's not for me, but it's for a lot of people, and that's great. The problem isn't in necessarily the story itself.
The problem is, as he read that, it sounded insane. Not like the description of what's happening, but the verbiage, the way that was written, it did not sound like normal human writing. Does that make sense? I don't want to say it's AI. I don't know that's where we're going in this video, but it didn't sound right.
The problem with this book, and you'll forgive me for looking at some notes here, it's so much to go through. So Audra was promoting it on TikTok, trying to sell the aesthetics of it, trying to sell the world of Guardian to her followers. I think she got like hundreds of thousands of followers on TikTok. Eventually would sell pre-orders of the book. That wasn't...
How on earth did a first-time writer with nothing but TikTok sell... Damn, she must be an incredible marketer. I don't know, how would you possibly buy into someone's first book without knowing if they could write? That's crazy.
And that sold somewhere between 6,500, 7,000 pre-orders of the book on TikTok.
Hold on. I'm just gonna really quickly. Amazon, I like how that's... Remember when Amazon was just books, y'all? I do. Amazon, let's just look up books. Hardcover, new releases in print. New releases in print, the #1. John Grisham. Still pumping out novels, huh? Well, all the hardcovers are between 15 and 20 something. And the Kindle editions are 5. The only thing I can see right now that's a new release that is the Wings of Fire. That's a graphic novel. That's $10. Well, $11. So at minimum, 7,000, right? Let's do the average at 15, maybe, right? That's at least 100 grand in pre-orders. Middle ground, the median, mean mode, whatever. 100,000 for what I'm going to assume again is still a 20-year-old just hyping up her own stuff on TikTok. Okay, I can see how this can go south very quickly.
Again, the book wasn't finished. People were buying the sort of fantasy of it, this idea of the aesthetics of it, the world building of it. People just thought it was so interesting. Audra was selling it very well to people. She's an indie author, debut book, but more than that, she was positioning herself as this sort of revolutionary force in the indie
so she's a good marketer.
On my page every single day of how in the world did I do this? This is unheard of, and surely I am making things. And one day I would wake up to 500 orders, and the next it would be 1,000. And I was with an attorney going, what the hell do I do about?
With an attorney? Why? Attorneys require some sort of down payment fee, so already she's paying money to have that attorney on retainer. And if the attorney's not a retainer, then that's like a friend, but even that I think is against the rules of being a lawyer. What the Okay.
And here I am establishing an entire company, a digital studio,
A company, for a book?
bringing on my artists as independent contractors and employees as suddenly
Artists? What? It's a book. Why do you need artists? Plural. Yo, I'm so confused. What is happening?
She would say things like, because I've been writing this book since I was 12 and I'm 22, I
was pretty close. I was thinking 10 and 20, but 12 and 22. Wait, yo, this is crazy. This automatically has a million red flags because I think all of us know someone who, when we were young, was into sort of fantasy books and fantasy things, and they started crafting a world and creating all of these like backgrounds and stories and characters and doing it in their room, and they'd write it down and they'd like fantasize about this magic, and it was kind of their own creation and they were caught up in it. Usually most people grow out of that or are shamed out of that, then they move on with their life. And there are probably a few who are like, well, once I learned, about writing and this and this and this, I returned to that place of my youth and I brought it back and created. This just sounds like from 12 to 22, she was hyper-focused on this fantasy she created, which I don't think that's healthy. Okay.
surpassed the 10,000 hours necessary to be called a master of my craft. I'm revolutionizing this whole genre of writing.
I also very much encourage you to look up Malcolm Gladwell's The Outliers. It is a phenomenal book. Malcolm Gladwell has a theory that basically he came up with over numerous years that says it takes 10,000 hours to reach a basic level of mastery. And God knows I have done that. I have reached my 10,000 hours because ever since I was 12 years old, I have spent 3 hours or more every single day without failure this whole time, the whole 10 years in Guardian. Like, I have been developing Guardian for over 3 hours every single day for 10 years of my life.
No way. I don't believe that for a minute. Every single day, 3 hours a day? I refuse to believe that. There's no conceivable way that's true.
She sold so many pre-orders based off of effectively nothing, really just pumped her up even more, thinking that she was the best there's ever been, and she hasn't even published anything yet. So that already was rubbing people the wrong way. But then the book came out.
Okay, first off, before he lambasts this book, which you can see it coming a mile away, I've been really up on this sort of anticipatory joy thing lately, where, games like Star Citizen, where like people are buying ships, they're invested in what it could be. And even though right now it's barely a thing, people will tell you how amazing it is and how it's gonna be so good. They're invested in the future of the potential of it. And that's the same thing here. I think all these people who pre-ordered were hyped on what it could be and not really thinking about what it would be. Very Jurassic Parky. All right, yeah, okay.
It wasn't very good.
Yeah, I figured.
Really bad. And not even on a story level. Like, story level for sure. A lot of people have issues with it. There's a great review by Reads with Rachel. I'll link below. Again, I have so many videos. Go watch them. They're all great. I've been so obsessed with this story. So the story is lackluster. That's bad enough. But the real issue that people have is that just on a line level, the book feels like a first draft. Or worse than a first draft. There are sentences that are repeated, like in one paragraph and then over here in another paragraph shortly after.
What do you
Feels
mean?
very redundant. Some of the punctuation and grammar is wrong. The word choice. She's using words that don't mean what she thinks it means. Tons of errors.
Are we gonna get into this? I understand not wanting to cover the book. That's fine. I don't particularly care what the book's about. But all these other things I need to know. What do you mean?
It was hard to review the book because it was hard to get through it. You couldn't read. It was so hard to read. Meanwhile, again, Audra has been saying she's been writing this world for 10 years.
Right.
She has written and rewritten this book so many times, but she's not really editing the book. She's just, whenever she needs to do a second draft, she's just rewriting it from scratch.
What do you mean? That doesn't make any sense. That literally makes, what a waste of time. Maybe that is how you get 3 hours a day, every day for 10 years.
Rather than editing and revising what she's already written, which people have said is not a great practice because you don't really remember what you did write and didn't write. There are story, plot points that you drop and forget to pick up later because you're not revising what you've written. You're starting again from scratch to see if you can do it better this time.
I've never heard of that, ever. ever.
But on that note of editing, this has been a huge point of contention. So very early on, before the book sold, Audra was saying a very specific phrase, which I believe was she had worked with the developmental editor who published The Hunger Games. Now, I didn't know this because I'm not in the publishing world or the writing world, really.
Neither
The
am I.
developmental editor is, someone who really focuses on the big picture of the book rather than the, line to line, is this grammar okay? Is the word choice okay? This is someone who, they try to help with the coherence of, like, the character development and themes, pacing, overall narrative. So Audra's saying that
Someone you want on your side from the beginning, basically. Someone you send drafts to, you have a back and forth with as the book is created, and I assume when it's done, you hand it to them, they go through it, they hand it back and forth, da-da-da.
Worked with the developmental editor who published The Hunger Games, made people understandably think that her book, Age of Scorpius, was developmentally edited by the same person who also developmentally edited
Where is this
The
going?
Hunger Games.
Where is
Not
this going?
true.
Yeah, no
It
sound
turns
in it.
out. I just don't know why I'm so interested in this story. It's like rejuvenating me from my slump this year. It's
I'm into it too! And this is not a world I care about, but it's fascinating.
so fascinating. The
Ah!
actual case.
Go on.
Audra Winter worked with a developmental editor who was the marketing editor, or someone who worked in the marketing for Hunger Games, which is a different job. We're talking about two different people here, right? The developmental editor for the Hunger Games had nothing to do with Age of Scorpius or
Right.
World of Guardian or
Right.
anything like that. Rather, someone who did some of the marketing for some portion of Hunger Games worked, I guess, as a developmental editor for Age of Scorpius. But I also want to stress that editor didn't tell Audra that the book was good. She said that the book was hard to follow and not ready for the world. And Audra said, cool, I'm not going to quote you on that, but I will sort of twist this whole narrative around to make it seem like I got a stamp of approval from someone else who isn't you. It's so wild. Anyway,
Wait, so how do we know this information? I assume it's come out, or this person spoke out. That's fascinating. That the one editor was like, no, this isn't good. And she was like, screw you, I'm using your name. That's crazy.
would you believe me if I told you that the book was just absolutely review bombed? Not review bombed in like a malicious way.
Review
It's just,
earned.
It was bad,
Okay.
and people started reviewing it badly. That is an extremely brief summary that brings us up to, not even today, but just like a couple weeks ago, as we look into some TikToks from Audra Winter that I want to show you real quick, because I've left out one important detail.
Oh, so we're getting into the aftermath of all this. Okay, so this is where this is why you will care.
That is really the reason why I'm making this video.
Right.
Because I feel like I have a perspective on it, but let's watch some TikToks, shall we? So this
Yes.
TikTok comes,
Yes.
I believe, right after the reviews came out and the book was seen, rightfully so, is not very good. So this is Audra's response.
My name is Audra Winter. I am the author of this book. It was released about a month ago, and I have lived through the worst week of my life because of it in the past week. And I just wanted to come on here and talk about it, and be genuine and express the things that I have been through in the past week, because I'm literally living through my worst nightmare and my biggest.
All right. Apologies to Audra Winter for a minute. I just want to say for the record, I realized the unintentional hilarity of me silently watching a man silently watch a TikTok. That's about as meta as you can get.
If you're not familiar, I have spent a very long time working on this world that I started building when I was 12, and I'm 20.
I just want to pause sort of immediately. This is a theme that we're going to see with Audra moving forward and really throughout, is this reliance on this idea that I've been working on this for so long that it must be good. And I don't want to show my hand too early, but this is sort of a weird capitalist brain way of thinking, you know? It's the reason why people hate things like the banana taped to a wall being art, because it's like, well, where's the work that went into that to make it art?
Right.
Why haven't you been working on that banana taped to a wall since you were 12? You have to put 10,000 hours in.
God knows I have done that.
Let's continue.
Interesting. All right. I think I see where this is going. But also, I just want to really quickly jump in and say, the time you spend on a thing does not necessarily equate to success. Some people get 33 million subscribers. It took me 10 years, more than that, to get 1 million subscribers. I don't think I deserve that, but I busted my ass to get that. You know, the idea that I put in the time, so that should be given to me. Or the people are like, I put in 5 years of YouTube and I don't have this success or whatever. You can't look at creativity that way.
It is the only thing that has stayed consistent in my life. It is the only thing that I have been able to lean on every single night and say, hey, at the end of the day, I have this and I have these stories. And it means a lot to me.
That's the danger. Remember going back to what we were talking about like the 12-year-old or 10-year-old crafting their world? Then they move on, and then maybe if they come back to it later when they're a writer. This is the danger of not doing that. If it is true that she spent 3 hours a day and it's been 10 years, this is something that is intrinsically tied to her personality. This is like when an MMORPG fan gets really upset about a change in the game because they've been playing it for 15 years. And it's like, but this is my thing, and you ruined my thing. Or Star Wars fans or Marvel fans that have decades-long sort of like love for a thing, and then as it changes or warps, or if something bad comes out, it affects them on a deep, deep level. This is kind of like the Snyderverse versus the new DCU kind of stuff. When you watch the Snyderverse fans just outraged that what they loved is gone now. It's that kind of thing. It's not healthy, that's for sure.
This is not just a hobby. It is quite literally my entire life now.
That line right there. It is quite literally my entire life.
That's not good.
The problem. Look, I've been making YouTube videos for over 10 years. I've been making YouTube videos longer than World of Gardian and Age of Scorpius has been alive. So that makes me a real artist.
God knows I have done that.
No, but
We're on the same page. We're on the same damn page.
For me, this isn't my life.
Right.
This is my job. This is a fun thing I get to do.
Yes.
It is also a thing that pays the bills, so I have to.
And when I leave this office, I disconnect. And I'll go and maybe I'll play a game for myself, or I'll read a book, or I'll watch TV. These days, I'm trying to work out more. Like, I will do things that are not this. Which is also why when I watch videos of people who just walk around with a camera on them all the time, and I'm like, what are we doing? Not everything you do needs to be filmed. Anyway, I'll just let him tell it, because I feel like we're saying the same thing.
You have to have a life outside of your job. And I understand that I'm privileged. I make goofy videos for a living. But even I, especially this year, got stressed and got anxious about every single thing I'm putting out there in the world. I forced myself to sit down and make these like reaction commentary style things, because otherwise I'm going to think too hard about every sentence I say, every line that I write, every piece of information that I research, and then I get nothing done. How many video essays have I made this year? Maybe one?
I'm going to look up NerdSync. I don't know a damn thing about you. I don't know about your main channel. I know nothing. I am 100% in. You seem like a chill-ass dude. Okay. Also, Scooby-Doo shirt rocks. Anyway.
We can't just have this be our life, because then when things are bad, when things are received poorly, then we feel like we as a person are being perceived poorly. If people don't like our work, it feels like people don't like us.
Yeah.
But you're not... Your value as a person is not determined by your work or how people perceive your work to be. Your value as a person is you're a person. You know what I mean? Be a good person. Be a nice person. Be someone people like. It doesn't matter if your work is bad. I've made videos in the past I hate. This might be one of them. But my value is not determined by how many views this video gets, or if people hate it because I'm not bringing anything new to this topic that's been discussed for ages. I just don't think my fans have heard about this story, so I just wanted to tell you all about it.
Have I found a new YouTuber I must watch now?
I have no escape from this, and I don't need.
No, you do, but you actually do need, you actually do need an escape from it. I'm sorry. You do, though. We all do.
That's why I have an office and an apartment. The office is where I work, and I go home and I don't work. You need an escape. Yes. But again, she's 22. I don't think she understands this. She's caught up in it. She had instant success based off nothing. Her ego is now affixed to the property she has created. This is something she truly believes in, and no one can convince her otherwise. I'm fully expecting him to be like, there was no book. She made it all up and then tried to write it in a week before publishing. Like, I would believe that. I would believe that. Man, I almost feel bad for her. When I was starting out, all the Minecraft YouTubers, everyone who was associated with that, or all the Five Nights at Freddy's YouTubers, or the people that were very hyper-focused on a thing, when they became associated with that thing, depending on how it went, or how they created stuff, like, no matter what, it usually ended dramatically. We'll leave it at that.
It's not bad to say, I want to take a break from this thing that I like. I used to make videos exclusively about comic books and superheroes, and then I got burned out from it, and I started making videos about Scooby-Doo, of all things, something that I thought I was the only one who cared about. Turns out, far from it. People care about it way more than I do, and I love it. And it was so refreshing to take a step away from this thing that I defined my whole life around for literally 10 years. Just like you. Literally 10 years. Also, I'm saying you like I'm addressing Audra. If Audra's watching, don't watch.
Are you addressing me?
Videos that criticize you.
Are we becoming best friends?
But my point is, I have made videos about a specific topic for 10 years, and I was so passionate about it. And then I needed a break, and it rejuvenated a lot of the stuff that I find really awesome about this job that I get to do.
Yeah.
When did this video turn into like a very sincere, genuine
It's
thing?
connecting with me.
Also, this TikTok is like 15 minutes long. We can't react to all of this. Another thing I forgot to touch on as well.
He says, as I am 15 minutes into his video.
Audra gets really defensive in a lot of places. One of the things is her main character is neurodivergent. Same, but because it's written from first person perspective, there are a lot of run-on sentences. Again, these repeated sentences that happen in one paragraph and then repeat in another paragraph, words that don't make sense, things like that. And Audra would defend that by saying, well, my protagonist, the center point of the story, the narrator of the story is neurodivergent, so not every sentence has to make sense.
First off, I wasn't aware that was a thing you could do. My terrible writing is because my point of view character would write terribly. What? That is an excuse.
Are you a perfect storyteller in your head? Don't you ever repeat words in sentences? It's like, yeah, I guess. I don't know. I think that's a pretty weak defense.
Very.
Personally. And a lot of people do. It feels like she's just trying to defend bad writing by saying, no, I'm not a bad writer. My character is just a bad speaker internally. But then the other issue then is that other characters outside of the main protagonist also have those faults when they speak. So no, it's not just the main character, it's every character.
No, but it's through the main character's lens.
Anyway, we're finally at the point that I want to bring you to. This is the thing that forced
We're
me
finally
to make this
here.
video.
Oh my God.
Because I was just like shouting at my screen when I saw this. Hit it. So good. Yes, Audra.
I believe I've been improperly introduced to you. I'm a 22-year-old entrepreneur, writer, and naturalist. Some of my favorite things are wolves, ecology, my dog, the ocean, and, of course, writing. You probably know me from that last one. In the past month or so, I have become known for what is literally my worst nightmare. So obviously, we took some time to calm down and talk with the studio and make some plans, hire...
What do you mean the studio? Also, did she say she's an entrepreneur first before writer? Because that's starting to check out.
Couple things I noticed. Number one, she always introduces herself as an entrepreneur first. And you might be thinking, why? Because I didn't cover it yet. But then you may have noticed that she said, we talked with the studio. Now that's interesting. This is the thing that I sort of teased earlier that I was going to bring out later. With the money from the pre-orders that she got, she set up some sort of creative studio for World of Gardian. She thinks that it's going to be this big cultural thing, like the Hunger Games or what have you, like a Harry Potter. I don't know. She thinks it's going to be the next big thing. World of Gardian. I got the pre-orders. I got the money from that. The book isn't even done yet, but I am going to set up an entire creative studio. What do I mean by an entire creative studio?
Yes, please tell me.
What do I mean by that? Great question. Let me just go back again to the World of Gardian website. See this little tab right here that says Meet the Team? Now, how many? Just take a wild guess. For an indie author, how many team members do you think there are?
Editor, writer, publisher maybe? Cover artist, maybe someone that's like the keeper of all the knowledge, the lore master, right? Because you probably would need someone to collate all the lore as you get deeper into the books. 5. Let's say 5. That seems already too many for a first-time author writing one book. But we'll say 5 on the team.
I don't care what you wrote, you're wrong. Because, first of all, obviously, Audra Winters. And then we have all of these people. We have an editor, thank God. But this is, I will say, new person, this editor.
So, post-book release editor. What sense does that make? Okay.
How about everyone else? An art director and illustrator. Okay, sure. Book covers. Maybe some art here and there to help sell the book. Absolutely. I mean, this website is nicely designed. Concept artist, another illustrator. Okay. Project manager and illustrator.
Stop. I'm going to assume these are all just fans or people that sent in art and she couldn't decide between them, so she just put them all on the team, maybe? I don't think any of these people are being paid. Like, she got some money, but I don't think she got to, pay 9 people's worth of money.
Formatter and illustrator, character artist, designer.
That doesn't make any sense.
Character artist, designer,
Animator,
illustrator.
Animator for what?
And another character artist. I want to remind you, this is a novel. This is a book with words.
Also, since most of these people are like Bam, Pastaway, Bug, they're fans. These are their screen names. Yeah, okay. I don't think they're being paid. I think these are just people who are fans of hers that she said, oh yeah, we're going to make a thing. And they probably all go in a Discord together. And this is probably the most friends she's ever had, is the vibe I'm getting. And they're all, they want to be friends with the next big thing person. And she's excited people care. This is less of employees and more like her selected cool kids.
Why do you have so many illustrators and character artists and an animator on your team?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Why is it a team? I didn't even get to all, oh my God. I didn't even scroll far enough. There's still more.
The beginning makes sense now.
Oh my God. There's a landscape artist, a concept artist, another landscape artist, another fucking illustrator, and another character artist. I thought I was done scrolling.
1. This reminds me of way back in the day in the early 2000s where and honestly, a lot of the voice actors you know and love right now were on something called the Voice Actors Alliance. Or there was the Voiceover Guild. There were a bunch of different things that were online at the time. There were forums and people would post like their anime dubs. They'd post radio plays, voiceover things for various video games. I remember I did one that was like a voiceover thing for Vagrant Story. At that time, people would make studios. And it wasn't a studio of like, we're all getting paid. It was, if you hire me to do the dub for your thing, or not even hire, just, I'm going to do a dub and these are the people that I'm going to use. And so it'd be like, studio, cool kid presents. That's what it would be. This feels very much like that.
It is absolutely baffling that you would need this many people for a book with words. You have one editor for the words. You have 400 artists. I can't get over that.
So obviously we took some time to calm down and talk with the studio and make some plans, hire an editor. So now.
So again, I want to.
The editor after the fact is wild. Yeah.
After the book was sold, now I'm hiring an editor.
That's weird.
Editors knew.
When she said I've been writing about this, I bet she did like a world Bible, or she has like a notebook filled with little notes and scribbles. I don't think she actually wrote the book over 10 years. I don't think that happened.
I can't stress that enough.
Let me tell you exactly what my goal is, what my intentions are, and who I am. I'm a full-time author and founder of a creative studio with artists from across the world all working to develop a literature-based multimedia series centered around the Zodiac-based fantasy world that I began developing when I was 12. I want my novels to be a blend of narrative prose and artistic storytelling. My chapters are written out like a normal fiction book, but there are also critical parts of the story that are told by illustration.
What?
My aim is to uphold artistic kinship, collaboration, imagination, and innovation.
Yikes to all those words. That is some... She really is corporation first, because that's some corpo speak right there. But I think I know what he's going to say. I'm going to let him say this because art plus words?
This focus on art, having so many artists saying that there are going to be key moments in your book that are only delivered via art, not prose.
We're on the same
And, like,
page.
this idea of, artistic kinship, whatever that means to you. I saw this TikTok, and after knowing everything else that has gone on so far, especially with the studio, all of the different artists, the fact that her writing just isn't very good, I was listening to this TikTok. And I screamed out loud to myself, just make a comic book.
Yeah, comic book. Exactly.
Do it. Seriously, you have so many artists. You're clearly so interested in the
just make a
aesthetic.
comic. Oh, do you think it's one of those things where she thinks that writing is more prestigious? Right? Like, a lot of people think movies are above TV, so if you're a movie star, you're better than a TV star, like that kind of thing. A lot of people still feel that way. And it's kind of like movie, TV, YouTube is the very bottom. And this is, writer, and then maybe graphic novelist, and then comic book writer. Oh, this is so funny. Make a comic book. You've got all the lore, just change the way you're doing it.
Writing line by line, especially descriptors of things. That was another critique of her writing I saw, was that the way that she describes things is so adjective heavy and so full of like purple prose, which, good news, is something that you can easily avoid if you just make a comic book.
You have the
'cause you
images.
don't have to describe the world
because it's right
that
there.
The characters see. You just have one of your dozen artists draw it for you. I'm kicked my desk. I'm so excited. Just make a comic book. Make a graphic novel. Now, I say just do it as if it's the easiest thing in the world. It's obviously still
But
new.
she's got the
You need to
team
work
there.
with the right artists. Some artists are really great at just drawing characters or drawing individual scenes, but they might not know the way that a comic book should flow from panel to panel and things like that. And there's a lot of other artists that you need to work with that you're maybe not used to work with, like letterers, for example. I get it. It's still a shift in what you're doing, but it's really not that big of a shift. You have so many artists. And you're determined for this to be some sort of multimedia series as well. Like, that's what you want. You want it to be a multimedia franchise in the world of Gardian. Just make a comic book, make a graphic novel.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. We both know she's not gonna. This whole time, I've showed you several TikToks, and maybe it wasn't enough to paint the full picture of Audra Winter, but as someone who's seen hours and hours of Audra Winter content at this point, I can tell you the way that she talks about being an author, it's like the most prestigious thing in the world to her. And I get it.
Yeah.
There is this
like I was saying
about it. It's nice to be able to put published author.
Or
in,
New
like,
York
your
Times
bio
bestseller, that kind of thing.
on Instagram or what have you. It feels accomplished in a very old school kind of a way that's still relevant today, especially if you can put that you're a best-selling novelist, right? Comic books, on the other hand, and you know me, I love comic books. I read comic books all the time. That used to be my thing. But comic books still, unfortunately, have this vibe about them, this air about them, that they're less important.
What was I saying?
Than writing the next great American novel or whatever. And that's a shame. And I think if you really believe in this world, I'm saying you again, like I'm addressing Audra, but this goes to anyone. If you really believe in the world that you're creating, in the characters that you're creating, in the story that you're crafting, then maybe it's worth examining if a novel is the right way to go. You clearly love working with all these artists. You love seeing your work come to life in front of your eyes, in front of readers' eyes, potential readers' eyes, rather. You love being able to market it based off of imagery. You know what's a great thing you can market based off of imagery more than most things? It would be a comic book, or again, just a graphic novel if you still want to have that sort of air of pretense about yourself. Yes, I wrote a graphic novel. You could still call yourself a novelist at that point. If you wanted to, you could still call yourself a published author even. It seems like she never even once thought about just doing a comic book. She had it in her head since she was 12 that she was going to write the next great novel and stuck with that forever, but then did nothing to facilitate its success. You hired so many different artists, and you talked to an editor who said, this book isn't ready, and then you published it anyway, and then only after publishing it did you hire an editor. I cannot get enough of this story. I cannot wait to see what happens next. Hopefully only good stuff. Though I want to see a comeback. I think we all want to see.
Sure, I hope for everyone's success in life, but some people are delusional.
God, I didn't even talk about the fact that Audra was like in denial over all the poor reviews of her book at the start. Like just basically saying that people loved her book and only had glowing reviews until one other person gave it a negative review, and then now everything that's bad that's happened is because of that one.
Have you ever seen that episode of Kitchen Nightmares where Gordon goes to Amy's baking company? It has strong that vibes. Like, they're giving us bad reviews. It's the bad reviewers.
That one TikToker who made one bad review, and then everyone started dogpiling on Audra's book. So it's not actually because her book is bad. It's because peer pressure, I guess. I don't know. I should wrap up this video, but the last thing that I will say is this. If you are my wife, Emily, oh, I got you, baby. I told you I would make you care about this. You watched 20, 30 minutes of me talking about this again? I told you it's interesting.
Yes, that was an awesome video. That was fantastic. This is the kind of stuff I want to watch. That was so good. I now want to deep dive this in a way that I am not wanting to deep dive much in a long time. Not too old for this. Although, I may be too old for Booktok. I don't know. I loved that video. I loved that. That was great.